right. Uh, so I'm Moshe. It's my channel, and today is the 30th of January, Tuesday, 10:02 in the morning, future Holy Land time. That's a good way of stating it, isn't it? The weather today and the forecast is prophetically important. Let me see if it wants to come up. The weather doesn't want to load. Oh, I know how to make it load. Hold on, I can fix this. There we go. What we're looking at is rain in the morning, and then, whoops, we're going to have a break for 2 or 3 hours in the afternoon, and then in the nighttime, rain. And tomorrow, pretty similar. Temperatures are going to be high mid-50s, low high 40s. Thursday tapering a little bit, and Friday partially sunny, and then Saturday more rain. Sunday no rain, Monday no rain, Tuesday rain. Okay, so the Saturday rain may not happen. It's a pretty long shot from here. Let me check another channel. This can be important for the message today. Check another weather place and see what they come up with. It's got to refresh. The first report is for my immediate area. The second report is for the region. So it's saying intermittent rain off and on during the whole, until 4 o'clock. And they're saying rain through Friday and Saturday and Sunday and Monday and Tuesday, and then it appears that it keeps coming even then. So we're having, I'm starting to even get used to it. So, it's prophetically important, but let me finish getting set up and then we'll get into it, okay? Let me jump into the chat and do a couple of little things while we're waiting for people to come in. I like to give people a chance to come in, and I don't like to just show a screen with number countdown as to when we're going to start. So I just do it like this, okay? Last week was a terrible week for offerings. I guess people didn't like the messages. So what can I do? If I wanted to preach the false gospel, I'd probably be wealthy and also cursed of the Lord. What a deal, huh? Great deal, huh? Not really. Almost there. Another few seconds and we're there. Okay, some people are coming in, so we got sound and picture. Looks like it's working. Okay, being a Bible-believing site, let's do our praise. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 So let me give you the build up as to how this message about the rain came about. Many times I like to sit outside with the dogs, usually 3 times a day. I like the fresh air. We're fortunate to have front and rear yards and garden. And they like the exercise and the fresh air. So I sit out there with them and I study Bible, do the news, depending what time of day it is. Sometimes I just find stuff to distract me on the internet. One thing that, well, anyway, and lots of times it would, we'd be a little bit in a rainy area, and I'd ask the Lord to stop the rain while I'm sitting out there. And very often He does. Several times since this big storm hit us, I would ask Him to stop it, and it didn't stop. And then I'd go out there, and I have I don't know what you call it, a beach chair or something. It's nylon, and I put it outside, and I'd sit on it, and then it starts raining like 5 minutes later or less, and I'd have to pick it up and pack it into the house so it doesn't get wet, and then I leave it in the area by the exit to the front yard, and then I would go back and get the dogs in, and this type of thing. And gotta go fast because you don't want the dogs getting soaked, and you don't want the chair getting soaked, and you don't want I don't want me getting soaked. So I took to wearing this Cooper hat, which is made out of they make them in Australia. They're made out of rabbit hair, H-A-R-E. So it's a special kind of rabbit they use, and it's not as soft as a expensive resistol or Stetson, but it's absolutely wonderful. I've seen people stand under these things with a hose, a garden hose with water coming out heavy, and they like wear a bathing suit, right? And they don't get wet. These things are amazing. I got it drenched a few weeks ago, and I had to brush it a little bit easily, quickly, using a hat brush. So it bounced right back, and I don't even worry about it, But I don't like wearing the other kinds of wool hats. Can be dangerous in the rain. One good rain, if you got a few drizzles, like you're going from the store to the parking lot and it's not a downpour, you're not going to have any issues. But if you get a good rain on it, they tend to get ruined. Now Stetson made some, and they still do, and I have some that are made out of wool, very cheap. Stetson hats look really good. I think they're the best looking hats, but they're not that good unless you get the real high end ones. So they waterproof, the wool hats, but I'm afraid to test them. So I keep running around with this guy, which is a really nice hat. But the brim is, I think, 3 inches. I like 4 inches, but this does the job. So I'm wearing it in case I got to run out and it's raining. That's it. And then I bought a waterproof or water-resistant Carhartt sweatshirt, which sheds the rain pretty good. So anyway, it's inconvenient. So it kept happening. I'm sitting out there and it's raining. I'm sitting out there and it starts raining right away. Then I got to, so I got to move the chair out there, bring out coffee or bring out water or whatever I'm going to bring out, and then get the dogs out there, and then I sit down and I start relaxing. Boom, I got to get up and run and start schlepping everything back in the house. It happened a lot of times, like 5 or 6. I don't know what's going on. So I'm thinking I'm doing something wrong. What am I doing? You know, what I would usually do is I'd leave the dogs in, put the heater on for them, and then go sit in the back under the patio where I don't have to get, it's quite dry and don't get wet, you know, and I got all the fresh air. So I'm wondering about all this, you know. And then I saw a video about the rain, and then I realized what's going on. I mean, we're going to have like 14 days of rain, I think, by the time it's over. Now, before this rainstorm came, the Kinneret, also known as the Sea of Galilee, was about 2.2, 2.3 meters below the point of maximum. When it goes, and that's a pretty darn good water level, believe me. Now, that's drinkable water, but you know, I would really suggest minimally filtering it or bringing it to a boil or something like that, you know. Of course, it's a lake, you know, but it's fed by the Jordan, which is fresh river, the Jordan River, fresh water. So I'm dealing with this, and I'm saying, what the heck is going on? What am I doing wrong? I mean, this is my normal routine for years, and I got it today. See, Israel has mountains, but they're not like the Himalayas or Mount Everest or, you know, anything like that, you know. They go up, I mean, Hermon might be, I don't know, 4,000 or 5,000 feet. And Hermon has so much snow, it's almost too much snow up there. And it's still coming in. Loads of snow, you know. It's a ski resort in, you know, so actually in Israel, to praise Israel, you could go skiing in Mount Hermon in the morning, right? And then maybe at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, you pack it up and drive to Eilat, which is going to take you, I don't know, hard to say, 6 hours, and then go swimming the same day, you know. Now, is the skiing great over there? Of course not. It's not like going to Mammoth or Lake Tahoe or anything like that. But it's pretty good, you know. They got a lift and everything. Now they closed Hamon because there's a military base over there, and the geniuses in the Hezbollah is shooting at it. So they shut it down for security reasons, but a lot of people would probably like to go skiing over there. So anyway, there's snow on other mountains in Israel. Now what happens is with the snow, I mean, obviously it's going to get warmer and the snow is going to melt, turn into water, become runoff, go down into the Sea of Galilee, but also it's happening all around Israel, like in Jerusalem and other places. And the runoff from the snow melting and the rain creates rivers in the deserts of Israel. Okay? And these deserts become full of water. So what I realized is the Lord is watering his garden. And the scripture for that is for my people yet to come. Now, I should find that in, I don't remember it, I have to look it up. I'll find it for you. Something didn't take. I start a new browser, I don't know what's wrong with this. Okay. boxes. It's giving me New Testament, which is not it. Why I'm not finding this. I'll get it. Google always puts the wrong scriptures up there. Let me see if I can get it out of eSword. That's got a horrible search engine, but it's free. It's in the prophets. I hate to say something and not give you the actual scriptures, because then I become like the false teachers. That's what they do. May not be able to get this, I don't know. Let's see. It's hard to find. So it's in there, I know that. All right, so now what we also need to understand is that the destruction of the daughter of Babylon, which is good old Star-Spangled Banner land, has its own harvest. Now, it's found in Jeremiah 51:33, which deals with the destruction of the daughter of Babylon. For thus saith Jehovah of hosts, or armies, it should be, the God of Israel, the daughter of Babylon is like. Now, it says is like a threshing floor. Now, let's look up the word for that, which is 1637 Strong's number. And it's one word. See how they confuse you? And it's a garen. And let's see how Strong's puts it into English. The word means a threshing floor. So it says the daughter, and the word for daughter is bat, which means daughter. Ben is son. Babel is what they say, Babylon. It's Babel, it means confusion. So it says bat, Babel, threshing floor. It doesn't say is like a threshing floor. Then it says it is time. Now let's check that word. Et, which is now or when. So threshing for, it says it is time. Threshing for when, and then you get the word to thresh, which is the rock. It's Strong's 1869, and Strong's puts it how? To tread, okay, that's fine. And then it says yet, which is the word, no, that's wrong. It's owed. Again or repeatedly, you see. It means like another time, old palm, another time. So, or continually or another time. Maybe that's why they say yet. And then it says little while, which is mayat, which means little. It doesn't mean little while, it means little. And then it says and the time, and that's et. And then it says harvest, which is harvest. Come, bo, it means come. Okay. So it's saying time harvest. It's saying America's like a threshing floor. What they do, let's say they put the chaff in the wheat, or the chaff in we could use chaff in the wheat, okay? The chaff is the junk you don't want. So they put it on the threshing floor and they tread on it, and it separates the wheat that bears fruit, the grain, from the junk, okay? And what they do is they take the junk that they're not going to eat, and they burn it. And that's exactly what happens to the daughter of Babylon. The Lord said he's going to kindle fires in and around her cities, and they're going to burn. Okay, that's in Jeremiah 15:51. So, yeah, you're going to have all these other problems, and the preppers are gearing up with their guns, and, you know, they're going to hold out in their holds and their get-out bags and their get-out locations and all their plans and stuff. But they're preparing for the absolute wrong catastrophe. It's not going to work. They're prepping for the wrong stuff. When you're prepping, you're saying, I'm going to take care of myself. The other thing the preppers do is they say, I'm going to stockpile food and water. Well, they're basically being taught to hoard, and the other people are going to, suffer with famine. But a lot of them will tell you they'll share their food, but let's see what happens. And they're going to lock themselves up with their food and water and supplies, and if anybody comes around, they're going to shoot at them with their many guns. Now, that's their plan. It's never going to work. After the daughter of Babylon is on fire, and the people are massacred, and they spoil or they loot and pillage the daughter of Babylon, and they leave, God washes the whole country over with big waves. It says that in Jeremiah 50:51. That'll put the fires out. It's also gonna wipe out anybody that managed to survive underground or something. They're gonna drown. Let me find you that scripture. The Jeremiah 50:32 verse reads like this: "And the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up, and I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour," which is you could translate burn up, "all round about him." That's how the people are going to get killed by the invaders as well, but and then it reads in 51:32, "And that the passages are stopped, and the reeds they have burned with fire, and the men of war are affrighted." They're frightened. Then it says, "Thus saith Jehovah of hosts, the broad walls of Babel shall be utterly broken, and her high gates shall be burned with fire, and the people shall labor in vain, and the folk in the fire, and they shall be weary." Getting there. Okay, that's the fire. Let's go for the waves. Jeremiah 51:42. "The sea is come up upon Babylon. She is covered with the multitude of the waves thereof." Then we read in Jeremiah 51:55, "Because Jehovah hath spoiled Babel," that means she gets plundered and pillaged, "and destroyed out of her the great voice, and her waves do roar, the great waters, a noise of their voices uttered." So the waves are roaring. These are going to be, I don't know what size waves, but for this to be fulfilled, they're going to have to like hit Kansas, Oklahoma, places that are not on the coast. And think about it. It gets the fires out, and it destroys anybody that's still left hiding, and then the waves will recede, and the animals live in the houses. And nobody ever lives there again. So the preppers, the survivalists, the militias, all of them are barking up the wrong tree. They're taking the wrong path. They're not kneeling down in front of God and asking Him to save them. They're going to save themselves. And that is never going to work. Now, the ones that are smart, that understand the scriptures, are going to leave along with the Israelites. Now, you have almost as many Jews living in America as you do in Israel. 6.5 million to about 6.6. So it's important for the Lord to save them. These are not the days like they were in the past. Now, the great falling away is what this is. Okay? Now, the church, in their replacement theology arrogance, considers the great falling away to pertain to the church. Oh, there's something I want to show you that I forgot to show you. Remember I showed you the New York Stock Exchange and the Supreme Court looked just like Greek and Roman temples? This is the old White House that burned, but this was the original White House. And it, too, right to the Tiffium, the triangle over the pillars, has the Roman temple resemblance. The new White House doesn't look exactly like that. They covered it up, but it still has the pillars. It's a demonic temple, the White House is. And I'm sure they get visited by all the top demons and everything else in there, you know, and worship and have services there. I mean, how many people you think work in the White House if they're not serving the unclean spirits? Like, none. Who would work there? You know what I mean? You think Biden has people on his Secret Service detail that are not serving the same God as him? You're kidding yourself. They don't want him around. So you have to, you have to be mindful of that. I think it's it's 2 Thessalonians 2, but let me see if I can find it better. 2 Thessalonians 2, I think in 1. 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 1. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord, Yeshua HaMashiach, that by our gathering together unto him, that you be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand. Let not many deceive you, by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Okay. So it's tied to those days, which we'll explain a little bit. So the Israelites right now are not following the Bible, they're following the Talmud and the Kabbalah, and they're not worshiping Yeshua, they're denying him and saying bad things about him. Now, the harvest from America is probably, most assuredly, not just Judah. It would also be the lost tribes in America, of which many people think, myself included, would include the North American Indians. How many of them there are there, I don't know. Plus other lost tribes that could have migrated to America. I don't know the number, and I don't have any idea. They'll come too. But we read in Jeremiah 50:51, those of you that survived the sword, let Zion come to mind. Now this is a little perplexing, because when the invaders destroy the place, they seem to get everybody. So to survive the sword is more than likely the ruler against ruler, which you're seeing manifesting with Texas and some other states, particularly Texas right now, because Abbott, the governor of Texas, is a ruler. For ruler against ruler to work, you have to be some type of a ruler. Now, you may be able to fit this with a city, a mayor, a state governor, and you could fit it maybe with a county, but counties generally don't have a particular individual. They have a board of supervisors, which could fit, I suppose. The other thing that could happen is since it says ruler fronting ruler, we'll check for plurality in a minute. Could mean one ruler against another ruler. So the states that are backing Texas could form some type of alliance or union to oppose Biden. I think 27 states have sided with Biden. Fourteen have already sent their state National Guard down there to help, some of them. And they've also sent, like, their state police, people like that. What Abbott is doing with the National Guard is using them to put fences up. He, yesterday I think it was, or could have been the day before, came out with a public statement that they're not just closing the border. Abbott said he managed to ship 102,000 of these, what he refers to as illegal immigrants, although the federal government legalizes them when they file for amnesty, if they file for amnesty. So he's saying we're not just doing that, we're sending them out of here. New York City, I don't know the details yet, is apparently trying to get the migrants out of there. They've got people on the streets and everything else. The shelters are over flooded and, with people and all this stuff. So he's not just shutting the border. He's aware of the fact that he's got a problem in Texas and he's running them out of Texas. So he's taking it to higher levels, okay, which I'm sure Biden doesn't like. Biden is cracking off with statements like, oh, if the Congress passes a law that I close the border, I'll comply. Well, first of all, he could veto it. And second of all, they're not about to pass such a law. Now the House is impeaching some guy, I think, from Homeland Security. And that's nice. They could start all their, campaigns to impeach, but, they got to get the Democrats to go along with their policies of impeachment. And, it doesn't look like the Democrats are really going to take the side of the Republicans. And it doesn't look like that's going to happen. The same with impeaching Biden. It doesn't look likely. So Biden is just making him look good. I put up on my Telegram, if you want to access my Telegram, there's like a few sites on Telegram you might like. One is my main site. The second one is it's called America's Civil War and Prophecy, and Bible Prophecy. And I have another one on spiritual warfare. If you want to access this, you need to download the Telegram app, which is free. It's called Telegram Messenger. You get it in the Play Store, the App Store. It's easy to find it. And you install it, and then send me an email asking me for Telegram link, which link you want. Do you want all of them or whatever? And I'll send you an email back with the invite link. You click on it, and voila, you get put into the site in 3 or 4 seconds. And it's all free, everything's free. And you'll get, on my main site, the blow-by-blow descriptions of what's going on in the Middle East, mostly, and I usually put a good 100 posts up to date. I repost from a lot of sites. I translate from Russian, from Hebrew, sometimes Arabic, sometimes Farsi, although the Farsi is Iran, and you don't get anything out of Iran except who's winning the soccer game, and but nonsense. They got tight control over the internet. So you'll get a lot of news that way, okay? There's no censorship on Telegram, and it's free, and it has 700 plus million members, and it's very secure. Nobody ever had any problems with Telegram, and I've got, 650 plus people in there. We don't have any trouble with it. It's an excellent source. I put audio files up, and I put up text files. And I put up links to other places. So if you really want to know what's going on, that's the place to go. And I have one segregated just for America now. As I told you, we're going to be spending a lot of time on America because of what's happening. Okay? So this former assistant FBI director was on Fox News last night or yesterday, and I listened to it, and I put it up on Telegram. And he said that this wave of what he called illegal immigrants, or the migrant crisis, or whatever, is unprecedented in the history of America. And he said that we can't protect ourselves. He was calling it an invasion. And he said, we don't know who these people are. 2 or 3 of them can cause an amazing level of destruction in America. And he was admitting to 2 million illegals. Many other people are saying 11 or 12 million. Border Patrol guy came out with a comment a couple of weeks ago that they're backlogged by 8 million. That means they got 8 million of these people that are filing with them. None of these statistics take into account the massive flow of immigrants illegally that don't file for amnesty and coming in on Florida's coast by boat. They just pull up in the boat and they leave the boat and they just get lost in the population. It's, you know, you got what, 350 million people approximately in America. It's easy to get lost. They could go to sanctuary cities, they could go to other places. If you're not driving the car, you're really not going to be asked to provide identification. So they take buses and stuff like that. It's now come out that the illegals don't have to show ID to get on airplanes if they have this amnesty paperwork. But there's no background check being done on them at all. How are you going to run a background check on somebody from China, North Korea, Iran, Russia, Cuba, Venezuela, Gaza, Lebanon, Yemen, Iraq, Syria? None of these countries will cooperate with the American authorities on a background check. So if we took the former FBI director, assistant director's comments, he was stumbling around saying, well, I don't know the number. But the narrator in them talked about 2 million. 70% are draft age males, so that gives you 1.4 million. That's not counting the ones that come in by sea, the ones that come down from Canada and just sneak in. And this is greater size than the American military, which I think is at an all-time, or a 60 or 80 year low or something like that. It's down to 1.3 million, I think. It's the lowest it's been in many decades. So they're trying to get people into the military. They're lowering standards, where the Air Force, I just heard, is taking people that don't have a high school diploma, which they hadn't done probably since Vietnam. It used to be in the Vietnam era that if you had an 8th grade education and you could pass a literacy test that was geared to someone with an 8th grade education, you'd get in. Okay? So people were, they used to get in without that level of education. Typically Air Force pilots, they want, I think they want a college degree. They used to. I don't know the deal now. Maybe they take a 2-year degree, or I don't know. A lot of the Air Force guys would go to their university, which is you get a 4-year degree and all that. I really don't have any concrete information on what it takes to be a pilot today. They're probably paying the existing pilots fortunes to get them to re-up. By fortunes, I probably mean $50,000 to $100,000, someplace in there, which usually I think is tax-free. So every time they re-up, which is 4 years usually, they can get a big cash lump, settle all their bills, and then they could continue running their bills up the next 4 years and stuff like that. People in the military behave and operate differently. Some people are penny pinchers and they're just going to save their money. Other people will squander it and buy cars and clothes and vacations. It's all over the place. They all are going to live differently, So will America try to fill the ranks of their military with these so-called illegal immigrants? They might. 3 police departments have been recruiting them. Probably because they have language skills and they could use them to work with the immigrants in the community. Plus they would understand the culture and the language. So this is rather scary to many people. But it's a reality, and that is really scary because it's really happening. It's not something that they're talking about happening. Now, drafting them into the military is not yet a reality, and it may never be a reality because I don't think it's something that they need to do. And to get people to be at least somewhat effective in the military takes time. You can't, these people don't have the language skills normally, so how do you put them in the military? How do you get them through basic training without the language? Are they going to run basic training in Farsi, Chinese? I mean, I don't think so. They could try something like that, but it's relatively stupid. But, if Biden wants to do it to get people mad, that's a good way to get people mad. So the FBI guy never talked about them overrunning military bases. That's something they don't want you to know about. Because if you knew about it, people would start complaining the military bases are undefended. And then on a big base with many thousands of soldiers, instead of seeing 20 or 30 MPs and Department of Defense police running around on a shift, people would want to see 300. They'd want to see armored personnel carriers. They'd want to see tanks being used. And this would thwart Biden's plans. So what this guy was doing was basically creating fear amongst the people. Now, Fox News does this in other places, but let me tell you what they don't do. None of them talk about the military bases being overrun that I ever heard of. They don't put that on. I'm the only one talking about it. The other thing they don't do is they don't tell the people what to do about it. You see, this is a problem. They define the problem, they illustrate it with videos, they project, broad fear, and they leave it at that. Now, Abbott is emerging as a leader, and he's showing the people what to do about it. He's actually demonstrating it by example. and he's moved the National Guard tanks and Bradley fighting vehicles to the border. And this is not to fight the illegal immigrants. They're doing that with a razor ribbon. This is to fight Biden. And this is as we speak. Biden has yet to tell us what he's going to do about it other than federalize the National Guard, which he hasn't done, and he never firmly said he would. I'll be right back. But he might. Well, I don't think that'll do much good at all. Let me see if I could track down that fighting ruler. See if we could get some insight into their words. It might be difficult, but let me give it a shot. So it's Jeremiah 51:46. All right. And lest your heart faint and you fear, for the rumor that shall be heard in the land, a rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that in another year shall come a rumor, and violence in the land. Now the word for violence is Hamas, which is a Hebrew word, and the name of Hamas is not Hamas, it's Hamas, and it's Arabic. It's not Hebrew. They would never use a Hebrew name. idiots run around teaching that. It's insanity. Uh, Literally, it means violence. By implication, wrong, unjust, cruel, damage. I would go with violence. Violence inherits the land. Ruler against ruler. The word is 4910 in the Strong's number. And let's see how Strong's interprets the word into English. Dominion, governor, have rule, have power. So it's not the leader of Black Lives Matter or the Ku Klux Klan or the militias. The governor is a perfect example. Abbott is spot on to meeting this. Well, let me see if it says ruler or rulers, if I could ascertain this. Well, it doesn't have to be in the plural because it sort of sounds like it, you know? Yeah, it's upon or against, and it's in this singular. It says and ruler upon or against rule. Now, let me check some other words in here and see if we could see any other translation choice. Well, it says Shana, which means in year. Report. It's a little different than the English. It's not super significant, but let me try to give you the scoop. Start like in the middle, and it says land and comes. In the land and comes year report. In the land comes year report. This word I need Strong's for. After, in the year report after, ruler against ruler. So you're going to get a report of violence and then ruler against ruler. The English isn't really very much off at all. It's pretty darn close. Close enough that you use the English. See, and you keep reading it, and this is what you get. Therefore, behold, the days come that I will do judgment upon the graven images of Babel. We've covered that a lot. And her whole land shall be confounded, and all her slain shall fall in the midst of her. Then the heaven and the earth and all that is therein. So I mean the people in the earth shall sing for Babylon, for the spoilers shall come unto her from the north, saith the Lord. As Babylon hath caused slain of Israel to fall, minimally this was October 7th with Netanyahu, so at Babylon shall fall the slain of all Haaretz, all the earth, all the land. Ye that have escaped the sword. Now, let's check the English to see if it's correct. The word for escaped is more like refugee rather, or escape. The sword, the word for sword is kerub, which could be a knife or a sword. Remember it says that, well anyway, let's just keep reading. Go away, let's check that. Halak. Chief, be good. Don't give me trouble, Chief. Be good, Chief. Chief. You that have escaped the sword, go away. It really means walk. Okay? Stand not still. Oh, I don't think that's right. The word al is not. And the other word, amad, is like to remain, I think. Let's see what Strong's uses. You could say stand. Remember Jehovah afar off, and let Jerusalem come into your mind. See, this is saying they're going to be coming to Jerusalem, and I don't see them stopping in the wilderness here. Now, let's go to Ezekiel 20, starting in verse 33, and see what we can see. This is the second Exodus. As I live, saith Adonai Jehovah, surely with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out will I rule over you, and I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries. It would really say earth, I think, wherein you are scattered, with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out, and I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face, like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt. So will I plead with you, saith Adonai Yehovah. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant, and I will purge out from among you the rebels, the transgressors against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and you shall know that I am Jehovah. As for you, O house of Israel, thus saith Adonai Yehovah, go you, serve you everyone as idols, and hereafter also, if you will not hearken unto me, but pollute you my holy name no more with your gifts and with your idols. For in my holy mountain, in the mountain of the height of Israel, saith Adonai Yehovah, there shall all the house of Israel, all of them in the land, serve me. There will I accept them, and there will I require your offerings and the first fruits of your oblation with all your holy things. Well, there's no Mount Zion right now. Many centuries ago, enemy soldiers dismantled it. They just shoveled it away, I guess. And that's not back, and there's no temple or tabernacle to do offerings now. But that could change. I will accept you with your sweet Savior when I bring you out from the people and gather you out of the lands wherein you have been scattered. See, this is a general harvest. I think the harvest of the daughter of Babylon is kind of a first fruits harvest. I will be sanctified in you before the heathen. And you shall know that I am Jehovah, and I shall bring you into the land of Israel, into the country for the which I lifted up my hand to give it unto your fathers. And there shall you remember your ways and all your doings wherein ye have been defiled, and you shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for all your evils that you have committed. And you shall know that I am Jehovah when I have wrought with you for my name's sake, not according to your wicked ways, nor according to your corrupt doings. O you house of Israel, saith Adonai Yehovah. Well, he's talking the house of Israel. That's the 10 tribes. I'm sure some are in America, but not all 10. I would be surprised. So I don't think this is the general harvest. The time I don't think is right. I you know. For this to happen, the democracy of Israel needs to be gone or massively changed, which I doubt. Take a look at the chat. So, this is my thoughts. Now, if it is the time of the general harvest of the world, then it would have to line up with Isaiah 60, which I don't see. I'll explain easily. Arise, shine, your light has come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. Okay, so we have the glory of the God of Israel, the kabod, back. I could see this. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But Jehovah shall, that's the glory of God of Israel, shall rise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. I could still see this. And the goyim shall come to thy light, and kings to the brightness of thy rising. What the heck kings are going to become? I don't see that now. Lift up thine eyes round about and see. All they gather themselves together, they come unto thee. Thy sons shall come from far, and thy daughters shall be nursed at thy side. Then thou shalt see and flow together, and thy heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee, the wealth of the sea. Now, this could be the treasures, that we find in the sea from all the sunken ships over thousands of years. I don't know. Unto thee the forces, the rich of the goyim shall come unto thee. This doesn't sound like tribulation stuff. The multitude of camels shall cover thee, the dromedaries, and it says, I will glorify the house of my glory. This could be consistent. Who are these that fly as a cloud, as the doves to their windows? This is not consistent, I don't think. Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons. You see, now this is saying the isles shall wait for me. So it could be that there's a first fruits harvest or an earlier harvest, which is America. And then the isles are waiting to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of Jehovah Elohim, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. Well, I don't see the glorification here. Let's see how Strong's translates this word. No, could mean boast. I'm not sure. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls. See, this is making me think it is a now thing. And their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor I have mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually, and the force of the goyim and all the kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee will perish. See, it says, violence shall no more be heard in thy land. Well, we know there's going to be violence in the land with the great falling away. Thy people also shall be all righteous now. This comes after. See, what I'm trying to do now, guys, is I'm kicking against my doctrines. You know, I'm trying to not say, okay, this has to be this way, kick against it, which I just did. It doesn't fit. Okay? The other doctrine I'm kicking against, and pray about this, is the is the appearing of the Son of Man actually the second coming or immediately preceding it or something? And I'm trying to resolve that. I'm working on that. Make sure I'm right, that there's an appearing and then a second coming, okay? Because you see, the appearing is at the end of Zechariah 12:10, which is the end of the great day of the Lord. And the great day of the Lord could also be having the tribulation occur at the same time, but on the nations, not so much on Israel. But we don't read anything about Israel taking the mark or not taking the mark, nowhere. So it sounds unlikely, you know? When you read Daniel 11, it gives you an idea of the great day of the Lord events. I'll show you. Now, we're not going to be able to interpret everything in Daniel 11, okay, because it's still sealed, and the Lord's going to give it to us when we need it, okay? So let's go through this. I'm trying to find the verse to pick it up. I don't want to go through all of Daniel 11. Let me put my computer glasses on. Probably should have done that already. See, the next big event we got coming is, it says Elijah shall come first. So, we'll just conglomerate it here. Hold on a minute. Hold on, I got a tanglement here. I got to disentangle. All right, this comes out. Where's the snafu here? Right there. Now let's disentangle that way. Oh, this is. I ordered some new things to put on the eye, on the glasses to keep them from coming off. These are horrible ones. I got some better ones coming. These are just a nightmare. Tangled City. All right. So these things that I'm covering are very, very confusing, and they're meant to be that way, and the church doesn't have any insight at all into these things. Let's see. talks about all sorts of war and things like this here, but we got to go through this. We'll jump in Daniel 11:21, and in his estate shall stand up a vile person, to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom, but he shall come in peaceably, and obtain the kingdom by flatteries. What is the kingdom? It could be the kingdoms of the world, And with the arms of a flood shall they be overflown from before him, and shall be broken, yea, also the prince of the covenant. Well, that's speaking of the next prince. Maybe not. No, it doesn't say anointed prince. The prince word is nagid. It's a leader. And the covenant word, I believe, is brit, so it's the correct word. And after the league made with him, he shall work deceitfully, for he shall come up and shall become strong with a small people. And that doesn't help us much. He shall enter peaceably, even upon the fattest places of the province, and he shall do that which his fathers have not done, nor his fathers' fathers. He shall scatter among them the prey, and spoil and riches, and he shall forecast his devices against the strongholds, even for a time. This is hard to understand, and he shall stir up his power and his courage against the king of the south with a great army, and the king of the south shall be stirred up to battle with a very great and mighty army, but he shall not stand, for they shall forecast devices against him. That could be Yemen, but when it says south, the word for south is Negev, which is the desert in the south of Israel down there. No, it may not be. There's no other candidate for king of the south right now, I don't think. Maybe Jordan, but not really. For they that feed of the portion of his meat shall destroy him, and his army shall overflow, and many shall fall down slain. And both these kings' hearts shall be to do mischief, and they shall speak lies at one table. But it shall not prosper, for yet the end shall be at the time appointed. Then shall he return into his land with great riches. So if this is who I think it is, the beast, he would return to Cyprus. That's where Satan's seat is, and that's where Satan dwells. So, quick break and we'll continue. You can put questions up in the chat. See, the real challenge here is huge because did this happen in the past, a long time ago? Or is this for our days? And it's so impossible right now to see it. But I'll keep reading. So he returns to his land. And then we go on to 11:29. At the time appointed, he shall return and come toward the south, but it shall not be as the former or as the latter. For the ships of Shittim shall come against him. I mean, is this going on now with all the ships in the Red Sea and the Mediterranean and the Sea of Oman and all that? Therefore he shall be grieved and return and have indignation against the holy covenant. So shall he do, he shall even return and have intelligence with them that forsake the holy covenant. Well, that could be the government of Israel, because they forsake the Holy Covenant. The Holy Covenant's been around for thousands and thousands of years. And arms shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength. Well, that we know is not happening now. So we got a good idea that this is more or less coming, but there's no sanctuary to pollute. And shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination and make it desolate. Now we're getting somewhere. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries. But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do. Okay. And they that understand among the people shall instruct many, and they shall fall by the sword, and by flame, and captivity, and by spoil. It says many days, but the word many is added in, and the word for days is yom, so it's just days. They say many days, it says days. Now when they shall fall, they shall be holpen and helped with a little help, but many shall cleave to them with flatteries. And some of them of understanding shall fall. Now the word for fall means kashal, stumble and stagger. It doesn't mean they're going to be destroyed. To try them and to purge and make them white, even to the time of the end of the age, I suppose, because it is yet for a time appointed. Now, let's back up a little bit. It says in verse Daniel 11:33, and they that understand among the people shall instruct. I don't think this is a good match. Separate, discern. See, it says discern or understand much. It doesn't say instruct. They shall discern or understand much. Not many. See, they're twisting it here. Yet they shall fall. So it says the word fall, which is stumble, by the sword, by flame. It could be spear, point, flame. By captivity, that means they have to leave. By spoil, days. So it's not a long period of time. Now, when they shall stumble, they shall be helped with a little help, but many shall cleave to them with flatteries, and some of them of understanding, and that would probably be translated better with discernment. Let's check. Like intelligence or something, those that are like smart, if understanding, yeah, shall fall to try them and to purge, to make them white, even to the time of the end, because their time appointed. And the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods. Now, is this the actual guy that's running around, or is he staying in Cyprus, where Satan gives him the seat, his power and authority? Good question. And shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished, for that is determined shall be done. Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers. Now that doesn't mean he's Jewish, but he could be Buddhist, I don't know. Nor the desire of women. Does that mean he's not straight? No, he could just have no interest. Nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all. But in his estate shall he honor the God of forces. And now, what does the word estate really mean? 36:53. It's the word for yes, kuf nun. What is this? No, it's a different word. Yeah, it's like his place. But in his estate, you could say, yeah. Shall he honor the God of forces? And the word of forces is... What? Try this again. And it's not making sense with the English thing. No, it's a fortified place. And a God whom his fathers knew not, shall he honor with gold and silver, and with precious stones and pleasant things. Thus shall he do in the most strongholds. The world is most strongholds. Fortress. With a strange God, whom he shall acknowledge. See, who is the strange God, Satan or the beast? See, you got to ask yourself these things. Whom he shall acknowledge and increase with glory. And he shall cause them to rule over many, and shall divide the land for gain. And at the time of the end shall the king of the south push at him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots, and with horsemen, and with many ships, and he shall enter into the countries, and shall overflow and pass over. He shall enter also into the glorious land, and many countries shall be overthrown, but these shall escape out of his hand. Edom and Moab, and the chief of the children of Ammon. That's basically Jordan and northwest Saudi Arabia. He shall stretch forth his hand also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. But he shall have power over the treasures of gold and silver, and over the precious things of Egypt, and the Libyans and the Ethiopians shall be at his steps. So I guess at his steps means they're following him. But tidings out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him. Therefore he shall go forth with great fury to destroy and utterly make away many. And he shall plant the tabernacle of his palace between the seas in the glorious holy mountain. So I guess it's talking about between the Dead Sea and the Sea of Galilee, which would put it around Jerusalem. Yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. It doesn't sound too much like the beast, but it could be. See how hard this is? Now we go to 12, and we get, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of the people, of thy people, that's Israel, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was, since there was a nation, even to that same time, and that thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. Well, we see Michael standing up after he leaves the temple and, goes to the Mount of Olives and waits a while, and then he opens up the Mount of Olives and people run through it. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake. This sounds to me like Ezekiel 37, the dry bones. Some to everlasting life. So there you go, that's your 144,000. They rise up from the dead and they have everlasting life. We just accomplished a lot right here. And some to shame and everlasting contempt. Those are the ones that will be kept in the pit and then thrown in the, go to the judgment and lake of fire. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. Now this is sounding like the close of the great day of the Lord. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book. See, it's still sealed, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro. What does that word really mean? 7751. It means to go about. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Probably of the scriptures. Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood another two, the one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank of the river. Could be the two witnesses. And one said to the man, clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river. This would be Yeshua walking on water or standing on water. How long shall be to the end of these wonders? And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the rivers when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swore by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time and times and a half. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. So it appears that that's the return of Yeshua, right? You know, that's your Zechariah 14 when half of Jerusalem goes into captivity. That's the first time is Egypt, the second time Babylon, the third time Rome, and the half time is this, which hasn't happened yet. It's on the Gog and Magog, the great day of the Lord, when half of Jerusalem goes into captivity. And I would say the glory God of Israel is on the Mount of Olives, waiting, and when he sees the last one go into captivity, making it half captivity, that's when he goes to work and stands up for the people, because the bad ones have been dealt with. This is really hard, but I'm starting to, pray that I get it right. That is there just one appearing of Yeshua. Now let me tell you some of the things that perplex me, and we could pray about them. In Psalm 110:1, it says, "The Lord said to my Lord, sit thou at my right hand till I make your enemies your footstool." So we go into Revelation 19, we'll drop down a bit. And we see in Revelation 19:11, "And I saw heaven opened, and behold a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war." Well, that would be Yeshua. "His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood." And his name is called the Word of God. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, the Goyim, the heathen, and he shall rule them, meaning the heathen, with a rod of iron. And he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty God. So the sword is probably the word of the Lord. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying, to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather thyselves together unto the supper of the great God. Now this is the Gog and Magog. At the end of it, the birds and the beasts eat the dead bodies of the animals and the attackers. And the Lord says that's a sacrifice for them, and drink the blood. So it's a blood sacrifice. And this is when I think comes the child playing with the asp and the lion eating straw, and no harm in the holy mountain. which means no more animal sacrifices as I interpret it. And that means Yeshua's back because he did one sacrifice and doesn't have to do any more. And that's how I'm looking at this. So I'm just trying to explain to you how I'm getting there, okay? Since this angel is flying in standing in the sun, he's in the Shemayim, where the clouds are and stuff. He's calling the fowls, but the beasts are coming also. But this angel's just not calling them. That's how I'm seeing it. That ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and our flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. The army would be the angels coming with Yeshua. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast. So this happened already. And them that worshipped his image, these both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. And the remnant was slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceedeth out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. So the word of God is being performed. We don't actually see Yeshua killing the people that way. But this is pretty obviously Gog and Magog, don't you see it? So we're just a few years away from the return of Yeshua. And at the end of this battle is when they look upon the one whom they have pierced. So it might be him actually coming down. See, I got to work through this. I got to kick against everything. And that's how you do it. And you'll be doing it too. Yes, you will. There's a reason the one that's given much, much is expected. You've been given much. Because you wouldn't be able to understand it without the Lord giving it to you. Okay. People here aren't going to give you a shout out. Why won't they give you a shout out? Why? 2 John, verse 9. Whosoever transgresseth and abideth not in the doctrine of Christ hath not God. He that abideth in the doctrine of Christ, he hath both the Father and the Son. If there come any unto you, and bring not this doctrine, receive him not into your house, neither bid him Godspeed. Bidding him Godspeed would be giving him a shout out. For that's like a hello or a greeting. For he that biddeth him Godspeed is partaker of his evil deeds. And that's why people come in here and do that. And that's why here nobody does it. All right. We have a toss request for. No, we don't. Hold on. Let me get into the prayers and if we have it. No, I don't think. I don't think we have it. Let's go to Proverbs 28, verse 9. We're going to do 9 and 10, and I'm going to show you why the church is going to get it in America minimally. I'll be right back. See, a large part of America's trouble is churchianity. Now, this, of course, is probably one of the most unpopular things I could say, but that's a major problem they have. They've been the seat of churchianity for a long time. He that turneth away his ear from hearing the law And the word for the law is Torah. Even his prayer shall be abomination. Whoso causeth the righteous to go astray in an evil way, he shall fall himself into his own pit. But the upright shall have good things in possession. So that's why you see the churches praying for Israel. The pastors don't care. They know, he knows he's got his people steeped in sin so deep, God's not going to hear their prayers. Now, you go to the church and you tell them that, and they don't know what you're talking about. But they'll be quick to tell you how Israel sinned and how God turned his face away from them. And they got killed and run into captivity. Are they going to believe it when it happens to them? Not till it happens. You could explain Galatians 5:19 to 21. That says those that do variance, which is different doctrinal statements, having different beliefs, yet saying they're in Christ and they're children of God, they're giving him a bad name because they're saying that Jehovah and Yeshua promote division, which is seditions. In Galatians 5:19 to 21, which is denominationalism. They have 3,500 denominations. A house divided unto itself shall not stand. Now, they're going to fall in their own pit. They're not teaching the people that the daughter of Babylon's America, and it's time to leave, so they're going to get killed in America, the leaders of the church world. Okay? They teach replacement theology, phony rapture, out of time. They teach division. You know, what don't they teach? They change the Sabbath to Sunday, and how would you worship the sun god Tammuz, who was mythologically born on December 25th, but you'd worship him on Sunday. You know, singing Christmas trees, all this junk. Idols, you know, come to the cross, that old rugged cross, and they go up and kneel down to sticks. They carry sticks made out of metal or in their pocket, and they wear them and put them on their Bible covers. And what? I mean, it's just absurd. It's a completely different religion. It's not Bible-based. They say the law is dead. Yet they say the Messiah will return on a feast day. They're completely crazy. If the law is dead, how could he return on a feast day? What would be the point? They're just nuts. Satan is a psychotic. He's nuts. And he's their father, and that's why they're this way. They don't know it. They use the name Jesus, referencing the Jesus of the church, which is another Jesus. They have another Jesus, they have another gospel, and they have another spirit. They're completely in a different religion, yet they're trying to give Jehovah and Yeshua a bad name by saying they're with him and making the people of the world think this confused, bewildered, divided, mixed up churches are of God. They're trying to give God a bad name. This is one of their big evils. It says in the Bible, Judah shall have a harvest. Let's find that. I don't know how easy it'll be to find. Let me find it if I can. Didn't come up. Let me try a different way. Well, I think I found it. Hosea 6:11. Also, O Judah, he had set a harvest for thee when I return the captivity of my people. Let me put this in correct English. Yehudah, that's Judah. Yeah, that's the harvest. It doesn't mean what they say it does. Let me get there. Hold on. For thee when I returned is turned back. The captivity of my people. The previous verse, I have seen a horrible thing in the house of Israel. There, the whoredom of Ephraim, Israel is defiled. Oh, this could be in the past very easily because Israel's not here. And then he's saying, Yehudah, Judah, he placed harvest, turn back captivity of my people. And the word is which yeah. Well, Judah's already had in part a captivity, but this could be referencing the harvest in America too, because there's more Judah there than anywhere else. Interesting. It's a little too vague to take it further. I don't know how to do it. It could be something different. I'm not too clear on that. So I'm going to keep kicking away at everything, and let me see what I might have left out in my notes, and trying to get deeper and deeper into things and try to show you how I do it. As I told you, Ezekiel 43 with the glory of God coming to his temple could be from Malachi 3 suddenly comes to his temple, because he says he's going to stay with the people of Israel forevermore if they don't sin. So that might not be him returning to the temple after the Mount of Olives split open, because Yeshua may return with New Jerusalem, and he goes into New Jerusalem with Yeshua. So it could very, very likely be the first time he goes into the temple. I want to look at Ezekiel 47, see if we get any hints here. Afterward brought me again unto the door of the house, and behold, waters issued out from under the threshold of the house, eastward, for the forefront of the house stood towards the east, and the waters came down from the right side of the house at the south side of the altar. Then brought me out of the way of the gate northward, and led me about the way without unto the utter gate by the way that looketh eastward, and behold, there ran out waters on the right side. Now, this is, of course, interesting, and this is not the water of life, because this is a temple. And there's no temple in New Jerusalem, so this wouldn't be the end of the Battle of Gog and Magog, it would be before it. And see, I made mistakes, but God's getting us back on the track. He's getting us where we need to be, and he's doing it quickly because there's a reason. And when the man that had the line in his hand went forth eastward, he measured 1,000 cubits, and he brought me through the waters. The waters were to the ankle. Again measured he 1,000, and brought me through the waters. The waters were to the knees. Then he measured another 1,000 cubits, and brought me through the waters, and were to the loins. Afterward he measured 1,000, and it was a river that I could not pass over, for the waters were risen waters to swim in, a river that could not be passed over. And he said unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen this? Then he brought me, Son of Man is, I believe, son of Adam. It is Ben Adam, son of Adam, which is the flesh. He's the one in the flesh, Adam, not Yeshua, who's the second Adam. Hast thou seen this? Then you see, the second Adam was born of the Holy Spirit and woman. Very different than the first Adam that was made from the dirt, but had the Holy Spirit in him. Hast thou seen this? Then he brought me, he had the Spirit of life in him. We know that anyway. I should have said that. And caused me to return to the brink of the river. So I'd say he had the Spirit of life in him, not the Holy Spirit. Now when I had returned, behold, at the bank of the river were very many trees on one side and on the other. Then said he unto me, these waters issue out towards the east country and go down into the desert and go into the sea, which brought forth into the sea the waters shall be healed. And that's probably the Dead Sea. And it shall, which is, salty. It's so salty people float on it. And it shall come to pass that everything that liveth, which move, don't go in there if you got cuts and scrapes, they'll stink. And it shall come to pass that, but they'll probably disinfect at the same time. They sell the salt from the Dead Seas and people throw it in a bathtub and take a bath in it, and it's pretty cool. My wife uses it a lot. It makes her feel better, muscles and so forth. And it shall come to pass, and people use it as salt and all kinds of things. And it shall come to pass that everything that liveth, which moveth, whichsoever, the rivers shall live, and there shall be a very great multitude of fish, because these waters shall come thither, for they shall be healed, and everything shall live thither. The river cometh. This is consistent with Joel, when the locusts come to, eat up the land. It's like the Garden of Eden in front of them and burnt up behind them. So you could see the prosperity coming here. And this is as soon as we get the temple, which we know in Malachi 3, Elijah teaches the Levites how to do the offerings and make them acceptable unto the Lord. And I'm rather certain he's going to teach Ezekiel 40 to 48, which explains the next temple and the laws and ordinances of the next temple. You can read it for yourself. And it shall come to pass that the fishers shall stand upon it from En-gedi even unto Eneglaim, there's a place on the Galilee like that, En-gedi. They say this is on the Dead Sea. Sorry, that I'm confusing it with something else. It's at the Dead Sea. Even unto Eneglaim. I don't know. I think he's talking about the Galilee and the Dead Sea. I don't think they have it right. Oh, maybe not. No, it might be two places on the Dead Sea there the fishermen are. Yeah. Because you can fish in the Galilee now. There's fish there. They shall be a place to spread forth nets, and their fish shall be according to their kinds, as the fish of the great sea, exceeding many. So there's going to be all kinds of fish to eat from the Mediterranean. That's a lot of different fish. But the miry places thereof and the marshes thereof shall not be healed. They shall be given to salt. There's a salt covenant that we have to fulfill for the meat burned on the altar and stuff like that. So we need salt. And plus salt tastes good. And by the river upon the bank thereof on this side and on that side shall grow all trees for meat, whose leaf shall not fade, neither shall the fruit thereof be consumed. It shall bring forth new fruit according to his months, because their waters they issued out of the sanctuary, the temple, and the fruit thereof shall be for meat, and the leaf for medicine. So people are still going to be using herbs. So you don't have the new body yet. Thus saith Adonai Jehovah, this shall be the border whereby you shall inherit the land. According to the 12 tribes of Israel, Joseph shall have 2 portions, and you shall inherit it one as well as another, concerning the which I lifted up thine hand to give it unto your fathers, and this land shall fall unto you for inheritance. And this shall be the border of the land towards the north side, from the great sea, the way of Hethlon's men go to Zedek. It's near impossible to figure this out. By the way, I've tried. Hamat, Barathon, Shebrew, however you pronounce these places, the border of Damascus, and so we have Syria here. So that's a sign of something to come. Which is by the coast of Haran. So the Damascus being a ruinous heap is probably something we're going to see. And the border from the sea shall be Hazarenan, the border of Damascus, and the northward, and the border of Hamat, and this is the north side, and the east side. Now this might not be Greater Israel yet. And the east you shall measure from, could we figure anything out on the north here? Let's see. The border from the sea, I don't know what sea he's talking about. Let's check the word. Yam means sea, probably the Mediterranean, but I'm not sure. Let's see if we can get this on a map. Hazarenan. Hazarenan. Hazarenan Bible map. I'll bet you it's in Lebanon. Stinking spell check. Took my Z out. Alright, let's see if we can find it. Yeah, it's a garbage map. Let's try another one. Alright, I see Hazarenan, but I can't get a frame of reference as to where it is, so it's worthless. And that's not legible. And I look for Hazarenan, and I get a map that doesn't have it in there. And of what value is that? Such as Google Maps. Okay. Why do they even show it? Oh, I can't get out of here. Oh, there we go. It's punishing me. Let's see. Is it here? Google Maps is so bad. I mean, let's try. Gosh, so difficult working with them. They tend to show you the garbage, not the good stuff. Why do they show you things that, other than what you look for? I don't know. Unraveling prophecy correctly is a real job. The people that don't get it generally don't get it because they have no faith. They're called but not chosen. Why did they do that? I don't know. All right, there's one map that shows this, but I don't know what it's near. I have no reference to any body of water. It appears to be in Syria. Well, let's go back to the text, see if it helps. Well, anyway, he goes through the borders. It's very difficult to find maps that are not lying, that show you where it is. Then it says, starting in 21, it says, "So shall you divide this land unto you according to the tribes of Israel. And it shall come to pass that you shall divide it by lot for an inheritance unto you and to the strangers that sojourn among you." Well, I guess that's the people that are going to come from the daughter of Babylon harvest. I know of no other harvest that it would be. And then the second Exodus would come at the return of Yeshua, I believe. That's why we read in Matthew 13, there's the angels taking care of getting them over here and stuff. So it's a lot more complicated than I used to think. And it's really quite difficult. All right, so I'm sorry it took me so long to get it straight. So please forgive me, but the Lord's straightening it out for us. Okay. Let me see if there was anything on my notes that I skipped. No, I don't think so. No, I don't think I skipped anything. So it's the Lord's giving it to us. It's coming in pieces. It's giving it to us. I'm not sure what's going to happen the next year, which is in a few weeks. Things might change. They may not. It may be a Jubilee year. It may be a Shemitah year. It may not be. I don't have any definitive things. Year of recompenses does not seem to line up with any biblical holiday. But redemption does line up with the Jubilee, but not recompenses. It's paying back the nations. And I'm still working on when the nations he scattered Israel into will all be destroyed in Jeremiah 30, verse 11. Will it happen in year of recompenses or later on? I'm still digging on that one, okay? Birth pangs are going to go on for quite a while. Of course, the birth of the nation in a day is going to be the looking upon the one whom they have pierced and getting everlasting life. And that's going to be the end of the age, because there's this age and the age to come with eternal life. So it's going to happen in the next age. Are there going to be some in this age that have first fruits of that? Rising up out of the graves already happened when Yeshua rose up out of the grave, and they showed themselves around Jerusalem. Going from regular life without dying, without going to the grave, to eternal life, will that happen? I don't know. The best I can tell you on that are the two wave loaves, which would be, maybe it's the two witnesses symbolically, and they'll have eternal life, but they'll still have to die, so God could have given them something that they die. Now, I think we're going to have long life like they had before the flood, before Yeshua returns. That's my hunch. I'm still developing this. But it says a child shall die 100 years. Well, that means something drastically changed. Children don't live 100 years. People rarely ever live 100 years. So we'll be able to walk and not get tired, but you're not going to walk through walls. You're going to be able to run and not get tired, stuff like that. That's what I think. It could be the sun being 7 times stronger. It could be, I don't know why. It could be eating the herbs. that grow where the water coming out under the next temple is, and they heal us this way. I don't know. That's a good theory I came up with just now. But, I still got a lot of digging to do. The way the Lord deals with me is I get up in the morning, like, about 5, and I go to work, and then I do the broadcast, and then he doesn't do Bible studies with me very often after that. It's very rare, because he realizes I'm old and I gotta rest. Now, if I was 30 years younger, I think it wouldn't change. It'd be the same thing, because it's not physical. It's not like I'm moving furniture or pushing cars up hills that can't start. It's in your head. Now, your head drags your body down some, but the muscles aren't fatigued or anything like that. But he just kind of lets me do, what I want to do. Take a nap, eat, play with the dogs, amuse myself on the internet, and I take care of the news. I update the news stories and Telegram during the day, and sometimes Twitter, mostly Telegram, and that doesn't require a great deal of energy for me. Sometimes I do these nightly reports, the evening reports, and I'm not even sure I'm supposed to do those. I don't know what to do. I'm searching them if I should stop doing them and doing them. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't care if I do them or I don't do them. They're usually 5 to 10 minutes. A lot of people watch them, but I don't know if I'm supposed to do it or not do it. I know I overextended myself months ago, and he told me to cut it out. I was trying to take on too much. So basically, I go into my rest phase, which isn't that bad. I'd say I start at 5, and then about 1 o'clock, 7, 8 hours later, I'm done for the day. That's okay with me. I got to take care of the dogs, shower, eat, try to entertain myself, sit outside in the fresh air, do my breathing. I just run around, So please pray for me, Moshe, and my wife Rivka, for our peace, safety, protection, and joy. Pray for healing of our bodies. Pray for our finances. Like I said, last week was a horrible week for offerings. I don't know why. Unless people, when I correct errors, they get mad at me. I don't know. It's better to have the errors corrected than not corrected. The fact that so many new things are coming up so fast day by day, it makes me think we're very close to something happening, and the something would pertain to the 2 witnesses. And I think there's probably about 7 years for the return of Yeshua, but I've got to put the pieces together on that also better, so pray I get that down better. Not the church 7-year junk and, stuff like that. I could be wrong. It could be more years than that. I don't know. I think it's about that, though, right now. But I'll be working on that, too. And pray for our animals and pets to be happy, healthy, and whole. And pray my wife can find a good used car at a good price. And pray our roof doesn't leak. So far, so good. Tiny leaks, not much, tiny. It'd be nice if we had like an afternoon here and there with the sun out to dry it up, but I see the overall importance of what he's doing. If you're going to have 6.5 million known Judah come to Israel, plus I don't know how many lost tribes in America, and will they come out of Canada and Mexico? I don't think so. Then, because they're not getting destroyed like the daughter of Babylon is, that's why. Then they come, and this is going to give us a lot of people that are going to fall away, plus the existing people here will fall away, a lot of them. So, all eyes on Iran. You got to watch what those goofballs are up to. The peace treaty that the media is talking about, all this closer. Netanyahu came out again with a public announcement, I think last night. Said, no, we're not even close. He said, we're so far away. So, Cater and Biden and all them are talking peace treaty, ceasefire, but Netanyahu's telling us we're really light years apart. The deadline for Hezbollah in Lebanon to pull back to the Litani River, 17 or 18 miles, depending where in the river you're measuring from, is day after tomorrow. January, I think, has 31 days or 30. You get old, you forget this basic stuff. 31. So Thursday is the deadline's over, but I don't think they're going to do anything for a week or two. There's a whole army up there by the border, tanks, mobile artillery, the whole bit. Lots of troops. They've moved troops from Gaza up there, so lots of stuff up there. And we could have been lied to by the media about how many missiles and rockets that Hezbollah has, because they like to lie and, tout how great they are. And of course, the amount of rockets and missiles you have is nothing compared to how many rocket launchers and missile launchers you have. And he may not have that many, and they may not be that sophisticated. The Israeli government is behaving like the Lebanese don't have the might they tout they have. Okay? And they also could be setting us up. I mean, let's get real. And we could suffer some pretty serious missile barrages and destruction of property and life. It could be that they may want that, so we get mad and want to push at them harder or something like that. But I'm not leaning in that direction. I think they're just boasting lies. They don't have the wherewithal. The 80,000 people that live by the Lebanese border are, have left their home for safety for quite a while now. Must be 8 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, I don't know, a long time. And they're putting pressure on the government, but how much pressure could they apply? Not that much. So, the Hezbollah may in the final moment withdraw back. Biden's going to do next to nothing to the militias in Iraq and Syria. They're going to do bomb runs and maybe fire a few missiles from the sea. Not a lot's going to happen. The militia groups have already evacuated their bases. They're just leaving one or two guards there to make sure that nobody breaks in and robs their stuff. That's all they're doing. Biden's going to do nothing. He's not hitting Iran. He said so. And not much will happen. What he does is he goes to the Joint Chiefs and he says, this is what I want to do. I want to send a signal, but I don't want to get into another war. I don't want a war with Iran. So these are my parameters, and come up with what you suggest we do to the militias. I want to make it look good so the military doesn't rise up against me, but I'm not that interested in doing much of anything. That's what he'll tell them behind closed doors. And that's what will happen. he's got to deal with Texas sooner or later, right? He can't sit on that forever. He might try that, and his advisors will stop him. He's got to deal with it. What the heck the genius is going to do, I don't know, but he's got to deal with it. You know? What else? China is pretty much with Taiwan and North and South Korea the same as they were for many months. The Ukraine-Russia war keeps going back and forth, never stops. I guess that's about it. So offering information is in the description box. It's in the chat. You could always email me for it. My email is in the last line of the description box down. It's in the chat. And it's israelgiving with the number 7 at gmail.com. And pray for our animals and pets that are all rescues to be happy, healthy, and whole. And I'll keep chugging away and working at it, but you know, things will be good. You'll be, most of you that are in America, the ones in Europe, I don't see the clarity on an exodus yet, but you'll be here, I would say, by the end of July, and you'll be, I'll tell you what it'll be like. You'll be super psyched and excited for 3 to 6 months, okay? In the old Israel, it'll be a different Israel when you're here because the 2 witnesses will be here. So you'll probably be really psyched and running around and having a good time, and there's going to be tons of you speaking English, thank God. And some of you are going to avidly study Hebrew. And there's a bunch of people in Israel that teach Hebrew on the internet with you. They're not cheap, but you'll find lots of ways to learn Hebrew here. We'll have a temple very shortly, maybe before July, maybe in a month or 2, and there'll be all kinds of stuff going on here that's not going on in the past. I expect we'll be at peace. Somehow, some way, shape, or form, I believe the Gaza thing will wind down and the Lebanon thing. Now, it may wind down with us trampling them, but that's still peace when it's over. In both cases, Lebanon and Hamas. That could be. Damascus will be a Runasip, I expect. And, you know, the food will be different. The weather will be different. I'm not so sure we'll have the same weather. Pretty sure we'll have better weather. You'll travel. You'll see the old ruins. You'll see the Sea of Galilee. You'll see the Dead Sea, the Mediterranean, you know, Harmageddon, and Safat, and Hermon, and go to the borders and look into Jordan and look into Syria and look into Lebanon, and you can go down to Eilat and swim around and go skiing in Mount Hermon. And if you got an inclination to travel, it's 2.5 hours to Rome. Imagine that. That's quick. It's less than an hour to Cyprus. If you want to go to Satan's Seat, lots of people go to Cyprus. I've never been, and it's a nice place. They run ferry boats overnight, but they might have canceled those years ago. They did. I think it's about 45 minutes, 50 minutes to get there by plane. You know, so what's that like? You get on the plane finally, with all the security in Israel, right? You get on the plane, you know, and the plane takes you to, you know, you get into takeoff, and then the seatbelt sign comes off, and then you get a coffee or a soda or whatever. Maybe you get a bag of peanuts or a Danish or something, and then You finish your coffee and then maybe run to the restroom and freshen up, and then the seatbelt light comes on again, and then the altitude's coming down, and then you land. Just like that. If you're gonna gulp, 2 cups of coffee, okay? Then you're in Cyprus, and you're in Cyprus, okay? Will we be able to go to Jordan? Now we can. I don't, but I mean, people go. Lebanon, no. You can go into Jordan. Syria, no. Egypt, yes. Iraq, no. Turkey, yes. Why, though? I don't know. Romania's 3.5 hours if you want to go to the Black Sea. In France, Paris, I think it's 3.5. It might be 4.5. I did it so many times. It's either 3.5 or 4.5 hours. So you figure it's about 4 hours. It's not that bad. I think it's 3.5. It's not that bad. I used to get up in the morning. I'd be bleary-eyed to get on the early morning flight, and we'd have some coffee. Then we'd have breakfast, and then we'd read something, and then you're starting to come into Paris. I usually flew into Orly, which is in Paris. The other airport is Charles de Gaulle. They have a Disney. Well, who wants to go to Disney? I don't know what you do in Paris. I mean, I don't know what you'd like, but Rome, what would you do in Rome? Well, let's see. Great cheeses, great pizza, great bread and pastry, scenic. Go to the old Roman Colosseums and stuff like that. There's stuff to do in Rome. In Italy, you can find stuff to do. Quick flight. Quick flight. You can go to the beaches in the Mediterranean there. You can get into Switzerland from Italy pretty quick and easy. Switzerland's beautiful. You can go there. If you want to travel, I don't know. Many of you are not going to want to travel. You're going to want to hang around Israel. I know that. You'll have to find a place to live and where you're going to live. I'd say 2 places. Jerusalem or Galilee. I mean, that's where Yeshua spent the vast amount of his time. The Galilee is a huge place. Right now, it's like a basin of water surrounded by mountains that are not that high, but the sun cooks it and the humidity comes up in the heat. So if you live at the top of the mountains, like I kind of do, it's a lot cooler and you get breezes and stuff, where Tiberias doesn't get that many breezes over the sea. But it's all kinds of places there. Golan Heights are cool because they got altitude, maybe 1,500 feet, so you don't get a really hot summer, but the weather's probably going to change. But you get a colder winter. You could actually catch snow in the Golan. Jerusalem, I was there with waist-deep snow. I used to live, about 5 or 6 kilometers outside of Jerusalem. It's basically like living in Jerusalem. Jerusalem, you just want to walk and use buses and streetcars. You don't want to drive. There's nowhere to park. The traffic's deplorable. Tel Aviv is a big congested city. It has a lot of parks in there, so some of you might like it. Haifa's beautiful. It looks a lot like San Francisco or some Mediterranean city. It's crowded and congested, and driving around and working your way through the streets is extremely challenging there, the way that things are laid out. It's very challenging. We got Caesarea by the water. We got Herzliya, you got Netanya. There's Mediterranean cities. The beach in Tel Aviv is gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Eilat has good beaches too. The whole Mediterranean. There's various cities on the Mediterranean that are beaches. If you like beaches, they're nice. if we wipe out Gaza, by then you can go down to Gaza and get a beachfront place. Seriously, I'm serious when I say that. It's south, it'll be warm. And the Mediterranean is not the most beautiful water. I mean, it's similar to the Atlantic, but better. It's murky, kind of greenish murky. It's not like the Caribbean, that beautiful blue sea you get. Nah, it's not like that. It's close to the Atlantic, but nicer than the Atlantic. The sand in Tel Aviv is tan color. It's not white sand. It's not black sand. I don't know if you've ever been on a beach with black sand, but black pulls the sun more, and black sand gets pretty hot. But it doesn't. The tan sand's like, basically about what the white sand's like for heat. But the beach is beautiful there. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's a beautiful beach. You wouldn't go to that beach and say, gee, I wish I was somewhere else. I mean, the Caribbean is nicer with the water, but it's in the Caribbean. I mean, this is Israel, People swim in the Sea of Galilee. I don't like it. I've been in it a number of times. It's got rocks on the bottom with moss on them, and you slip, and it's yucky. I don't like it. People do it. People fish there. You can fish there. There's some boating, There's hot springs, natural hot springs, artificial hot springs all around the Galilee area near the Jordan River. So you got plenty of that stuff. You got a lot of stuff you can do. Take hikes, walk around the mountains, and where I live here in the Sea of Galilee, where Yeshua and the apostles were hanging out, literally where they were hanging out. You can go to the Mount of Beatitudes, or what we think is the Mount of Beatitudes, and hang around there. You can go to Capernaum. There's a lot of things you can do. I mean, you'll just go nuts for 6 months. But it's going to be different then, so I don't know. It's not going to be the way it's been when I've been living here, which is yuck. It won't be that way. So, you'll have to learn how to eat a little differently, I'm afraid. We don't eat like Americans, but I hope you bring your American ways here and we get back more to eating like an American. What a thing to say. But they eat like Arabs, like the Goyim. And that's how the Israelis eat. Oh, they do kosher, but they make their food like them, which I don't emanate the Goyim, Arabim, the heathen Arabs. I don't like their food that much. Right now we got Pizza Hut, Burger King, McDonald's, if you like that kind of food. The Shuk in Israel and Jerusalem, that'll amaze you. The Shuk in Tel Aviv will amaze you. It's just a maze of little stores and shops, independently owned. Like hundreds, and you get lost in them. Oh, you'll just love it. You'll have a field day there. Tiberias has a small Shuk. It's not anything to get lost in. It's not that fascinating. It has maybe 40 stores or something like that. 50 on the outside, probably more like 40. And they got butchers, and they got bakeries, and they got lots of fruit and vegetable guys, and candy and treats and spices. Some sell hardware goods and cheap clothing. Now, you can have a good time there, but it's not some place you go. You don't go mess around there. There's one guy I know, I'll try to introduce you to, as a shop in the Shuk. He's a great guy. And he has gourmet olives and gourmet pickles and lots of gourmet stuff. And he's just a character. He speaks perfect English. He's really a good guy. And he's a lot of fun. He'll take care of you. He won't cheat you at all. If you want to buy fruits and vegetables and you're afraid they're going to treat you, you put the stuff in plastic bag or something, you put it on his scale, or he'll put it on and he'll weigh it. Then he'll calculate the price with a calculator, and you just learn to say comma, which means how much. Just say comma, look like you know what you're doing. And you won't know what he says. Then give him a large bill, like 200 shekels or 100 shekels. And he'll think you know what's going on and give you the change. That's how I taught my wife to do it. That's how I showed her how to do it. Comma zeole is the formal way of saying it, you know. But a lot of they'll just say comma, and the guy knows what you mean, you know. And then he'll say something to you that's going to sound like, and you just give him the bill and you get your change. Because the fruit and vegetables aren't going to exceed 100 shekels unless you're buying a big bag of it, you know. It's cheaper to go to the shuk than the supermarket, and generally the fruit and vegetable and meat is better. Okay? If you want the non-kosher meat, not the unclean food, the non-kosher clean animals, you go to, there's a place by the Sea of Galilee that sells it, not bad, and then there's a cheaper place in Nazareth, which you call Nazareth, that sells it the same way, cheaper. So you got to take a little bit of a schlep over there, but you get it done that way. And now that's it. We'll see what happens. Keep reading your Bible. Keep praying. Don't give up. Don't get discouraged. God's going to get us there. And that's it. I'm out. I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach. Oh, I went 3 hours, didn't I? Oh, it's long.